All right, let's get started. First, we're going to go and launch a new instance. If you haven't already seen my tutorial on how to create a new EC2 instance, you should go look at that before doing this because I'm going to run through this pretty quick. We're going to go to AWS Marketplace. I'm going to select the CentOS 7 image. It's what I build all of my servers off of, is CentOS 7. So we're going to go ahead and select that. I'm going to quickly go through this and make a T2 micro. Okay, I'm going to put it in my proper VPC and subnet. The IMA role I'm going to leave around, and the shutdown behavior I'm going to leave alone. I'm just going to do it as a shared instance. And now I'm going to add storage to it. I typically do 30 gigs, and I do general provisioned SSDs. It's the best bang for your buck there. And I'm going to delete on termination because I don't want this hanging around. It's just going to be for a tutorial. I'm going to add a tag. I'm going to add a name here. I'm going to call it Socks5. All right, I'm just going to use my existing security group that I've used before. I've made one here earlier for Socks5. It just has SSH and has another rule for Socks5. You can look at that if you want to, but it's just simple port binding. You can look at my tutorial on subnets if you need some more information about that. All right, the instance is launching here. Just take a few minutes. We're going to go view the instance now. And there's our instance running. We've got a public IP assigned to it. It's still pending, so it's still initializing, but we're going to start getting set up to get logged into it. All right, looks like it's fully running, so I'm going to go ahead and try to log into it. I'm going to grab the public IP address here, and I'm going to put in Socks5. I'm going to change that and save it in my PuTTY config, and then I'm going to open it. Now, when you first log in, it's going to require you to log in as CentOS as the first time. Now, I usually configure these for my own login, but this one I'm just going to throw away, so I'm going to leave it alone. So the first thing I'm going to do is yum install y, so that it accepts -y, and then I'm going to do EPL-release. I have to perform that as root, so I'm going to sudo bang bang to make sure that it runs it as root. I'm going to just switch over to root to make this a lot easier since I'm going to be doing a lot of installs. So I'm going to sudo group install development tools. Now this is going to take a little bit of time, but I'll time lapse this for you guys so you don't have to watch the whole thing. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to install gcc automake autoconfig libtool make pam-devil yum-utils open ldap-devil and open ssl-devil. Again, I'll time lapse all this so you don't have to sit here and watch this, but this does take quite a few installs to get a SOC server running. Now I'm going to make a directory. I'm going to have to make /opt/ss5. This makes the directory where it's going to launch in. If you don't make it, it won't work. And then I'm going to cd into that directory. I'm going to wget from SourceForge the actual tar-gz of ss5. And I'm going to untar it. Now I'm going to cd into the directory that it untarred. I'm going to do a .configure. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and tell it to make. After that's done, I'm going to do make install. Now I'm going to cd into etc opt ss5. I'm going to copy the password configuration to an original, and I'm going to edit it because we're going to set up authentication here. Also going to copy the config file as well. We're going to mess with some configurations. I want to have the originals in case I need to look at them or do something with them. All right, looks like the ss5 config is not there, or sorry, Vim is not there, so I'm going to install Vim. It will come with VI. I forgot to install Vim. I like the additional functionalities of Vim. So I'm going to install that, and it looks like this config is not where I expect it to be. Hold on here. Oh, there we go. We had to add etc opt ss5 conf. to find it here on CentOS. So I'm looking for the auth section. You can see there's all these different sections about auth. This is the one we're going to turn on here. We're going to make some modifications to it. So I'm actually just going to do a line below it. And there's a Facebook friend. I'll be sure to blur that out. So what we're going to do is we're going to do auth with, we're going to bind to every port and or every IP address and any available port that SS5 is using. We're going to do user auth, and we're going to do the permit here. Now we're going to go into passwords. We're just going to enter a very simple password. These are just space delimited, and every line would be a user and password, essentially. So it's stored in raw text. Not the safest, but it's the way SS5 does it. So now that we've gone ahead and made our user, we've made our auth and made our permit line, we're going to do some additional permissions here so that it can run. So we're going to own the password file by root. We're going to change it to 750 as far as the read, write, and execute is. All right, that should be good there. Now we're going to go ahead and tell it to run as root, and we're going to bind it to 889 on every IP. All right, I'm quickly going to do a netstat ANP to make sure that we have it bound to the right port. And there's our binding there. It's process 2012 if you want to look up what's bound to it, but it's SS5. We can see that right away, especially since I grepped it. And it looks like we looked there and 2012 is right there. That is our command we ran. So it is the proper thing that's listening on that port. All right, I'm going to hop over to one of my other boxes, one of my other servers, and I'm going to proxy through this. So I'm going to do a curl Socks5, going to use the IP and the username and password, and just going to try to get my IP address. And you can see there it returned the IP address of this box. So there you have it. It's very simple to set up a Socks5 server once it's all laid out for you, but it is really hard thing to do. There's not a whole lot of tutorials on it. But if you're looking for any additional information, just please comment, and I'll try to answer any questions you have. Or if you're Googling for it, I found the best thing to Google is SS5 and not Socks5.